Hello, it's Ronnie Yoga Devi coming to you from my home in Leamington. It's the 16th of August, and for us Ontarians, summer's just about over. We've got about 2 weeks left of it, so we're trying to get that in there, trying to get in as much as we can out of the next 2 weeks before it falls upon us. Everybody's back to school and work and everything, and fall leads to cooler weather and eventually to winter. So we really like our summers. They're far too short. Um, we like our fall and we like our winter too, but it's harder to get around when it gets cold and snowy. And well, the Farmer's Almanac is saying that this is going to be a traditional winter, which means snow, ice, lots of snowstorms, and all that sort of stuff. So that's what we've got to look forward to. We've been really lucky the last few winters that it hasn't been real major winters that like we're used to. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about today is customer service, because I've been having a heck of a time with customer service in a number of areas that the customer service should be really good. And one of them is healthcare. In Ontario, people are having a hard time just getting adequate healthcare. If you've had a doctor for a long time, you're probably okay. But if you have been looking for a doctor, having moved into this part of Ontario, which is a rural area, it's a small town, rural area, lots of farms and stuff in the neighborhood. And it's a little tougher to get the doctors to come out here. So we have a shortage of GPs. We have enough specialists about an hour away in the city of Windsor. And the next city close to us is, I'd say, London, and it's about 2 hours away. And it's hard to get specialists there. You can, but it's really a lot to drive 2 hours and then wait in a specialist's office and then have to drive 2 hours again. It's enough to drive to Windsor, which is about an hour to get to Windsor. So anyhow, I've been on a waiting list to see a doctor, just to get into a GP, to basically roster a new GP for like 3 years now, and it's just crazy. 3 years I've been on a waiting list. Nothing. I did get a phone call from a nurse practitioner's office in Essex that said that they just asked me if I was still interested in being on their waiting list, and that in the next couple months they would be calling people. That's not the worst I've experienced. Most of the time I'm putting my name on lists and not hearing from them ever again, which is not ideal. The one I've got my name on a waiting list for a doctor who's in Essex, and I've been on a waiting list for that guy for a good year. And so it's not a good scene. It's really not a good scene if you don't already have a GP, because if you don't already have a GP, you've got to go to a clinic where nobody knows you, and they've got rotating doctors that are one day here, one day there, one day here, one day there, and it's random, looking after your medical needs. And that's really weird, because if you don't have the capacity to have an understanding of what you need, how are you going to make that doctor understand what you need so that he can refer you to the right specialist? And I am really familiar with all of this stuff, having had open heart surgery when I was a kid and having to see a lot of chiropractors, and I've had eye surgery when I was a kid. So I'm pretty familiar with healthcare and going to specialist appointments and understanding what they need to know from me. Um, so if you don't have that background, then you don't know how to go about getting those specialists when you don't have the GP. I don't know. The Ontario government could do an awful lot better um, in terms of getting doctors out here. And the other thing is that I went to my sports medicine doctor, who I really liked in Toronto, not that long ago, because I had to have some paperwork done for the Ontario government. And so I went there and I got it all done, but I had to take a train there and a train back. And fortunately, I saw a few friends that I haven't seen since I moved there while I was there, and was able to stay with a friend, which made it a little less expensive, but it's still an expensive trip just to see a doctor to get some paperwork done. It's really not fair what people are being asked to do. And that doctor was like, "Oh, I hope you find somebody else who can do this so you don't have to come back and do it," because he's really not comfortable doing it because I haven't been going there regularly since I moved. So the only other thing I could do is just make sure I go like once or twice a year, but that's a really expensive proposition. And I don't think that it's fair for people to do something like that just to get a doctor. So that's an area where there's almost no customer service. Almost no customer service. Once you've got the specialist and you get to go to the doctor, you're fine. And you're treated fine. So it isn't like a across the board customer service problem. But it's just getting a GP in the first place. There is, even when there is a GP available, it's very difficult to find out about those GPs being available and taking patients. I have got a list of family healthcare provider resources for 2023 and 2024. The names have changed, but they're all mostly in Windsor. So if you live in Leamington and you don't drive, that's a problem. And there's one in Essex, and that's the one my name's in for. That's about half as far. Goodness me, throat's a little irritated. But anyhow, all that to say, that really needs to change in Ontario, specifically in Southern Ontario where I am. And so the other thing, customer service related, that I wanted to talk to was about telecommunications, which is the place where I think that customer service is the absolute worst. For the last 6 months, I have not received a bill from Bell Canada. And that is the primary telephone service provider in all of Canada. And they're a nightmare to deal with because there's such a big conglomerate that one department doesn't know what the next is doing. So what's happened is the beginning of the year, I'd asked for some large print bills because the bills that they're sending out, I can't even read my customer service number. There's a lot of details that are on the bill that I can read, but the critical important stuff I can't read. So I need it a little bigger. Well, the large print, I'm not going to give you any critical information here, but a page that I'll show you a page that doesn't have any special information on it that would be real private or anything. Okay, here we go. Found something. Here's a page that says what they would do if somehow your payment doesn't go through. This bill is in total 11 pages long. 11 pages for a phone bill. And this was this is there's stuff. Look at the size of this print. Look at the size of this print. That's insane. And then take that and compare it with, like a normal size print. What do I have that's a normal size print? Oh, that's just nuts. That is so big that it's crazy. And it's the only little bit that I could find that doesn't have some personal information on it. But it's crazy because it's like front page. This is the normal size font of their bill. My personal information is under them. I'm not going to share that with everybody in the whole world who might be watching this. But anyhow, it's hysterical. But the regular bill is about that size print, and it's difficult to read because it's not all caps. It's and several different fonts, and it's just a terrible billing situation. And what happens is that in a normal bill you get everything relevant on one page, and then at the bottom you've got your little sheet if you're gonna pay by check or go into the bank and take that thing in there, stamp it, and off you go. But I haven't gotten that in long time. But now I'm not even getting this. Which drives me absolutely insane. I asked for a large print bill, and I got one large print bill. And after that, no bills. So I'm calling in and I'm trying to, request that my bills come in. Oh, well, we're sending them. And I'm not getting them. We're sending them. I'm not getting them. We're sending them. I'm not getting them. We're sending them. I'm not getting them. And this just goes on and on forever. And I go, hey, hold on a minute. Are you suggesting that I'm telling you a fabricated story here? Because why would I waste my time calling you to say, I'm not getting my bills. I'd like to pay my bills, but I can't go to the bank with no bill and just sort of randomly guess how much money I owe you. I kind of need to know. Oh, you can do online banking. And I'm like, no, my vision isn't good enough for that. So I can't do that. So, and then they're like, you go online and do it. And it was the same thing. You can go online and do it. No, I can't. You can go online and do it. No, I can't. And blah, 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 blah. Eventually I had to just stop them and say, no, I can't go online and do that. And then they come up with the most ignorant comment that I've ever heard that you could use for somebody who's visually impaired or has low vision. Do you have somebody else who could help you pay your bills, ma'am? Well, if you could say something condescending and rude with regards to somebody's capacity to pay a bill and offend them as much as possible, that would be the way to go. Bell Canada. I just couldn't believe it. I just can't believe it was in the first world that somebody's doing this. I'm just mind boggled. So I had a better experience today. So that's what I got last month when I called in and said I'm not getting my bills. Well, I called in again because I got one bill, and for I can't remember what month it was. I think it was July's bill I got after talking to them in July, the beginning of July. The billing is always on the 20th for Bell Canada. So I got one bill, so I went and paid that. But it didn't have any of the details about the prior bills for February, March, April, May, June. So I get it, no bills for 5 months, and I get one for July, and I haven't got anything in August yet, but I'm hoping that it has been sorted out. But that was a regular bill. It was like the regular size bill. It wasn't a large print bill. I just got this one bill, and I was shocked that I even got anything. But I never did get the large print bills that I've asked for. And I, no word of a lie, was on the phone last month for like 5 hours one day. Like, I had the accessibility team with Bell Canada on the phone with me trying to help me out, and that was not helpful, actually. They've been helpful in other ways in the past, but with regards to trying to help sort out billing matters, they can't help you with that. They can help you with trying to set up a package, or if you got to make a change to your account or whatever. They're great with that sort of stuff. But if there's a billing problem, only the billing department can figure it out. And what I think is happening is the regular billing department is sending that bill over to another department and asking them to process it or send it to another department to process for the large bill. And it's just going missing. It's just not going to the place where people are thinking that it's going. And I think it's all systems. Problems with systems. Because if you don't have an adequate system to deal with when somebody calls asking for a large print bill, if you're in the billings department and you don't know who does that within the billings department, and numerous people have complained about this same problem, then you need to put a system in place. And it's not that difficult to do. Internally, you've got to do some work and figure that out. And then people need to have that information on their training sheets and their knowledge books and things. And it escapes me how a company as large as Bell hasn't got a system in place so that when somebody calls in saying, hey, I now need large print bills and I would like large print bills to be sent out to me. No problem, ma'am, we'll have that sent out to you. Boom, boom, boom. And you will get it. And lo and behold, you get your bill. And lo and behold, it's large print. So that's another place where we have like poor customer service. For a while there, when I called to talk to somebody at Bell, I was getting people in the Philippines. And I enjoy speaking with people from other countries. But when it comes to billings and rights for people with disabilities that we're afforded in Ontario under law, it doesn't work when you call somebody in the Philippines, because they don't have the same legislation and understanding. So they can't understand why you're upset, because they're like, they just don't understand why you're upset. And it's really, really frustrating. I would imagine that in a society where these sort of provisions for people with disabilities don't exist, that it would be really hard for a person with a disability to be able to, live and work the way that they would like to. I would imagine that that'd be really difficult. Oh, geez. I want to test something out while I'm here. I thought I had this plugged in, but I didn't. Let me know if you hear a difference in my voice. Okay, so now I've plugged in a microphone. I had it on all the time, but I forgot to plug it into my computer because when I did, I had to do a sound test and I can't hear what's happening if that's plugged in. Really should do this whole thing all over again, but I just do not have the energy to do that. So just have a laugh at my expense, okay? Because laughter is good medicine. Anyhow, I guess I ought to be off because tomorrow I've got to go to a little party. My boyfriend's daughter is having a little party. No, wait. No, that's 2 weeks from now. It's the son that's having the party tomorrow. Tired. Anyhow, you guys have a wonderful, wonderful evening or day, wherever it is, whatever it is where you are. And I look forward to sharing with you something more positive next week. Be really, really vigilant, though, with regards to billing if you're having problems with billing. One of the things I like to do is just ask for a supervisor if I'm not getting help, but sometimes they don't want to give you a supervisor, and sometimes they'll even lie and switch you to the colleague that's down the aisle a little bit and say that that's the supervisor. So you have to really be careful about that too. Anyhow, I'm just really, really, really glad that I have the capacity to talk to people intelligently, that I have the capacity to shut people down when they're trying to feed me a load of hogwash. And, you really just to get a bill, you shouldn't have to put your foot down and say, hey, I know the game that's going on here. I know you've done your thing, but from point A to point B, I'm just not getting my bill, and I need for you guys to do some internal work and figure out what's not happening, because this isn't working for me. If it's not working for me, it's probably not working for thousands of people across Canada. And like, oh yeah, there's all kinds of people. Well, they'll admit this is a big problem if you try to be kind of calm, cool, and collected about it. But it's really difficult when you're on the phone for hours and you're not getting anywhere. Today I did a little bit better. I think I only did about 3 hours on the phone today, as opposed to 5 or 6 hours about a month ago. But I know it's in process because I got a bill. So something positive is happening. It's just, it should not take like more than half a year to go from getting regular bills to getting a printed bill that is a large print. And when you do get a large print bill, it should be properly formatted so that, logical bits of information are all on the same page. And, I don't know about you, but when I talk word processing, I learned how to wrap at the end of a section to the next page so that I didn't have like random bits of information at the end of a page and then that same section continue on another page. And especially if that's large print, it's much harder to read, especially and they print it front and back. So if you're trying to read a page, you got this, and then you got all the other stuff on the bottom, and you have to actually flip the page over to look at it, and the brain doesn't work that way. You need information logically assembled. on one side of the page, and then the next legible section on the next page. It's really very simple. Even my my workout pages that I designed, um, really meticulous about. I've got my arm workout on one page. I got my chest and back workout on a second page. And I did it all in a spreadsheet, so you have to do this carefully. Got my leg workout on another page, and I got my kettlebell workout on a separate page, and then I've got all my stretches and all that on another separate page. But in order to make that work, when you print it, you've got to know exactly how many lines are there. And you can't do a page break in a spreadsheet. You just have to figure out how many that is and look at the print view and go back and add a little bit so that it works out. But in a text document, it's really easy to print things and to put page breaks so that they fall exactly where you need them to. So there's really no excuse. I mean, if I know how to do it and I'm like nearly 60, I think that kids who have more recent computer experience should be able to figure that one out. And people who work in the billings department should be able to figure that out. And if they don't have any word processing background, I'm telling you, they need it. Anyhow, I guess that's about all for now. It's Ronnie Yokodevi signing off. This is the last of my rant for today. Talk to you later. Have yourselves a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye for now.